Greetings and salutations. It is I, Johnny of the Wizardcast, and you are listening to the Who the Heaven Is I podcast. Why don't you take a moment and think about all the wonderful things in your life? As you do, I'm going to sneeze. Well, there you go. We're all blessed, literally and figuratively and spiritually. But some people don't accept the blessings. And on this episode, I think we're going to talk about being crazy. Because if you noticed, Seal talks about the meaning of life and the secret of success to the meaning of life. And it's pretty simple. I mean, we're never going to survive unless we are a little crazy. Now, some people go all in on the cray-cray. There's definitely different types of crazy. So, on this episode, get into a comfortable position. This is going to be like a meditation or anything like that. But definitely something you shouldn't do while you're driving. You should probably be in a safe space, preferably in nature, or your bed, or a chair, or something like that. But let's sit down and think for a little bit about everything in life. Not all at once, because that's like quantum living overload. Quantum living overload. I think your head will explode. Quantum living overload. Just simmer down now. Because it's a lot. Life is a lot to process sometimes. And the stressors that come at us, even though we are masters of our domain, some more than others, it seems like life comes at you pretty hard sometimes. But sometimes you need things hard. Like an egg would never go onto the frying pan if you didn't crack that shell. Just remember that. And so sometimes you got to crack through the shell and get the good stuff onto the griddle, because at the core, inside your middle, is all the answers to the riddle. What's the meaning of life? Yeah, and so unlocking your soul can be something that many find challenging. And I think they find it challenging because they're being soft on themselves. Like not everyone, because definitely that wouldn't be a true statement. But many people, they choose comfort and, complacency over growth and development. I listened during the summer to the Arnold Schwarzenegger book, audio book, and it was interesting listening to the Governor just give his perspective on things. Now, everyone can have their opinions on who Arnold Schwarzenegger is and what he does. To me, he's just, another dude in the universe, but from a fictitious standpoint, he was the Terminator that came back, in the second one. The first one, he was kind of not a nice man, really going after Shannon Connors. But then in the second one, he was like John Connor's like dude, he had his back, and so people can change, some for the better, some for the worse. And you look at like Shannon Connors, and you think about like her being put into like a mental institution. People said she was crazy, right? But in actuality, she really wasn't, right? She just had a different point of view. She saw things differently. But because she didn't follow the norm, she was leveled. Like, she was like what they would call full-blown cray-cray, like, oh yeah, Terminator coming and eliminating people, and you got to save them. It's like, that's full-on cray-cray, right? Because it didn't align with what everyone else saw, what everyone else thought. You think about the Wright brothers. Building their plane on Kitty Hawk and trying to get it to fly. At first people probably thought they were crazy. What do you mean you're going to take a car and make it fly in the sky? It'll never happen. And so there are always going to be those people that have to think outside the box to get outside of the box. Otherwise you live in a box. And, to each their own. I mean, we all have a unique purpose in this realm, I feel. And I think in order to really tap into your unique purpose, you have to first know thyself, then grow thyself, and lastly, show thyself. No grow show. And when you know grow show, then you get into the state of the universal flow, and it's quite magical. Like, things will gravitate towards you, because I believe God, the Matrix, science, the universe, whatever you believe in, they want us to be living in joy and have, our greatest good come out of us and live up to our potential. And sometimes you have to get a little crazy, Even Prince. I mean, listen. Prince knew. And when I bet you when Prince was first starting, he probably got ridiculed at first, for some of his cray-cray. But at the end of the day, I mean, look at what he was able to make out of his own creativity, his own mindset. Jim Henson, a grown man was using puppets and telling jokes. I mean, his early stuff, the more adult stuff was kind of interesting. But as he settled into his talent, the Muppets were awesome, and there's still some stuff out there for the adults, but it was fun for the kids. It was good, clean fun. So there's that. And I think as a society, as we go bigger, faster, stronger, sometimes we feel like we have to go over the top to get to that sweet spot. And I think that's where a lot of people are frustrated mentally, spiritually, and sexually. Like overstimulation makes you have to work that much harder. And so the balance, sometimes the withdrawal of the stimulation that today's modern world throws at us seems to be the best path. In the place that I'm currently residing, there is a tavern known as the Baird's Tavern, and it's one of my favorite places to go out just to get out in the evening, because there's like no TV inside the place, and there's such a holistic. I wouldn't even say holistic energy. I don't know. It's just a really natural energy within that space when you go in there that just, it feels like something when you walk into Baird's Tavern. It's got culture and history and depth. And some of the staff members, you say, even ghosts, but I don't think that they're like ghosts like coming to get you and like poltergeist type stuff. I think it's more like Casper the Friendly Ghost. But probably I think that way because that's my positive mind put that stuff out to the universe. And, I think that when you put positivity out there, things can really, really come back to you that way. It's like what you feed your mind, what you feed your body, what you feed your spiritual soul, is how you grow and develop. And back to being the cray-cray. If you were raised one way, but then as you got older, you go, hey, this doesn't make sense. And then a lot of people that are practicing stuff is like hypocritical, and it doesn't seem like it feels right when you start trying to confine people when, we're all given free will, the divine spark. And then, sometimes you got to sit in the dark. I mean, not that I'm gonna, give Aaron Rodgers all the credit in the world as far as like, hey, I'm going into the darkness, but there's something to be said about sitting with yourself and really thinking, like, not thinking in a worry state, but think about all the possibilities. Like, what does your heart and soul, like, when you wake up in the morning, like, what's the first thing you want to do? Okay, what's the second thing you want to do? Like, what are the things that bring joy to your life? Because, like, in my experience, what's the point of really living in this realm if you're not living? And so some will think it's crazy to not follow what others do. But me personally, I think it's quite the opposite. It's crazy to do what everyone else wants to do because we're all unique beings. And when we slow down and think about some of the things we do, it's like, does it really make much sense? So there's that. Like, I think in this country of the United States of America, people prioritize like going all in on things so much that they lose the love of the journey. And I recently went on a long road trip from the town of Warwick, New York to Cape May, and I did it all by bus. And it took me literally 9 hours. But it was fun, and I met people along the way, and I saw things, and I took photos. Eventually, I'll post that stuff, as with all the other videos that I've taken throughout the decades. But right now, just do the audio stuff. Smash that like button and leave a comment below, and maybe it'll inspire me to do it sooner. But along the way, I've met people, and I think, some of the people I've met have said some really intelligent things. But some of those intelligent things, people would be like, yo, that's crazy. Like, for example, 10 years ago, if you saw someone say, take your shoes off and walk around on the earth, it's good for you, it's healthy, it's how you connect with nature. People are like, yo, that's freaking crazy. But then all you see, like, if like Mademoiselle magazine puts it out, or Time magazine puts out, like, number one way to stay healthy in the universe is to take your shoes off and ground, then everyone's doing it, right? And I guess those that live in fear, that they are unable to get out of their comfort zone, to be in the darkness, to sit alone, or to try something new, there's that. And then the other people, you'd label crazy. But, there's different types of crazy. There's crazy good, where someone says, yo, I put my peanut butter out there and you dipped your chocolate in it. Like, what's that all about? And it's like, wait a second. Like, that's pretty good, Reese's peanut butter cups, right? But then there's someone that's like, yo, let's put some peanut butter jelly in the pasta. Yeah. In my own experience, that doesn't work out pretty good. So there's different types of crazy, but ultimately, I think if you're experimenting, having fun, and not harming, no harm, no foul, that's crazy good. That's like trying something new, is trying to see what life's all about, right? Or crazy bad is like, shunning people and their individuality and their uniqueness because you don't understand it, and labeling people crazy. Like, I think we should all define our own sense of crazy, because in our world, I think everyone's crazy to some degree, because unless you truly know how to POV jump and and really align with oneness and really being detached of ego, everyone gets on their own tangents. Everyone gets on their soapbox, whether they realize it or not. Some in a healthy way, some in a way where it's like, the me show. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we all just want to be valuable souls. And sometimes the best way to be a valuable soul is to, first know thyself, then grow thyself, then show thyself. But then how you interact with others, like the peace of this universe and the ability to connect with others is the magical gift because it gives you perspective. It sometimes you'll see yourself in other people, and that is a beautiful thing when you can recognize the common denominators and make a connection. And that's the way I like to live. That 9-hour journey, I made so many connections and had great conversations, whether it was the bus driver or the passengers or the woman at the honey store or whatever, the young lady at the front desk at the hotel. Like, you meet people, you hear things, you see things. And I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for the way I live. Why are you going to take the bus down there 9 hours? But I think it's crazy to sit in your car, turn on the music, and zone it out. Like, it's kind of a boring ride. Now, granted, some of the buses don't have bathrooms, which is crazy into itself. But nonetheless, if you've heard my episode the other day, the Puerto Juan is coming soon. So, that being said, this Juan needs to rise and shine and get the grind going. So if you want to rise and shine with me and get the grind going, then hit me up. Otherwise, stay crazy, stay foolish. Heart you all. I'm Johnny. Peace out.